Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Coffee Talk this week. My name is Elyse. I'm joined by the lovely Ginette and Elyse. We are some of the mediums and channels of Avalon Spirit, and we join you today on this wacky full moon, to put it gently. I think too, also wanted to start just by, before we get into, we're going to talk all this Aries full moon. There's some spicy energy we were discussing before we started recording this morning. And I know I've been feeling it for the last couple of days. I know a lot of other people have been feeling it for the last couple of days, but wanted to take a moment. Tomorrow in Canada is National Truth and Reconciliation Day. So we are all showing up in orange today to show our respect and support to that holiday. And well, it's not a holiday, but that day of observation, because yeah, there's a lot that goes with that. And it's important that we learn and unlearn and honor the lands that we are on, that are not traditionally ours, and that are really, they belong to those who were here first, which is the indigenous peoples of what we now call North America and what we recognize now as Canada. So yeah, we just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that, because it is an important day to learn and to set down our own previous knowledges and things that we were taught, and relearn what is truth about Canada's history.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Elyse.
Yeah. Okay. Moon. Spicy moon.
I actually don't remember the last time that the moon evoked so much spice.
A little pumpkin spice.
A little pumpkin spice.
Yeah, spiced with like some alcohol in there.
Yeah.
Seriously, like it is.
Some burning.
Yeah, moonshine.
Tabasco sauce.
My pumpkin spice smells like burning. It's burning.
This moon, so this is an Aries moon. It is the second full moon in September as well, so a doubling up of, which is pretty significant. But being in Aries, a little bit about Aries is Aries likes to jump in right away, swords flinging, right? Aries is the one that's like, okay, let's go. And then other signs might be like, hold on, Aries, we don't know the plan yet. And Aries like, we don't need a plan. We just need we need our swords. Let's go. Like,
swords, let's go.
Yeah, Aries just charges in right away. And I mean, that can be really beneficial, but in a moon energy, so moon being our emotions, Aries is the trigger of anxiety, anger, passion, explosions. So I would say, to start off, one thing to consider with this moon is anything you're feeling triggered by is to pause and ask yourself, is it worth the discussion, the altercation, the argument, the confrontation, the whatever? Because anything under a full moon, especially an Aries full moon, is going to be extra amplified. And do you want that? Or is it going to create karmic energy for you to have to then balance out after?
I wish I would have known that this morning before I had any of my conversations.
The spicy conversations.
Man, the triggers.
Mm-hmm.
It for me personally, it evoked a bunch of just like fear. And it was humbling to jump on here and have a little chat first, because it's like, it's easy. You reminded me, Ginette, that it's easy to place or direct, or like, you know, when you're evoked by these fear or whatever it might, for me, it was like scarcity and fear. Those were the two big ones. And it came in with like a boom. And that's where I projected this strong energy towards. That's where I placed the meaning of this like crazy energy that came through me. And then of course, the unsuspecting individuals on the other side are like, whoa, like, how was your sleep? You know,
do you need some
but
food?
It's really, yeah, it's really hard not to, when you have such a strong energy, like whether it's, you know, like it builds up, it's easy to then place that energy into almost like boxes or buckets that you're used to associating that strong energy with. So like, why am I feeling all this anxiousness? Well, this anxiousness usually comes with my fear around this. So then all of a sudden it's like rise of the feeling, turn, place it, associate it with that bucket. You know it, and it is a very unconscious thing. And it takes a lot of unlearning to be able to sit back and be like, whoa, this is strong. Let me try and, you know, transmute it, ground myself. Like and you said, Ginette, too, is like, it will require a lot of like micro consciousness, like little bits of being super conscious about these feelings. Even sometimes it's like once a day in the morning time, and sometimes it's every 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? And like, it doesn't have to be connected to a bucket that usually evokes that, like that wasn't even in my like train of thought. It wasn't even in our conversation, but because that energy that I was feeling was particularly connected to an old fear narrative, I jumped right back into that bucket and made that my truth. And the problem with doing that is as soon as you give it that attention, guess what surfaces? Guess what comes up again? Right?
Yeah, totally.
That's my personal experience with it so far. And it's only been like 2.5 hours since I've been up.
It's going to be a good day.
It's gonna be a good
Starting
day.
strong.
Oh my gosh. How about you,
What
Elyse?
about you guys?
I could not like aliven myself this morning. John was like, you literally sounded like a zombie. The alarm went off and I was just like, "Ah." It's like, I didn't know. He's like, you actually startled me because I thought you were awake, but you were not because you were just not wanting to enter this world. And I'm like, I was not. I could tell already. I was like, nope, not today. So that was the start. But it's been it's there for me. I've noticed kind of a build with this. I find this time of year can often bring stuff up for me. I'm always really connected into my birthday and like the year, like the changing of a year, and I start to like really deeply reflect around this time of year. And so I already had some stuff kind of brewing, I think, before this. The energy of the full moon really took flight. But I would say today there's a really that kind of angry, intense, anxious, heightened, like even jittery. I can feel my body just like,
Yeah.
like as if as I'm talking, I'm like having a hard time catching my breath and feeling really
Yes.
distracted. Normally I can feel really, I'm really attuned somatically to like what my nervous system is doing. So normally I can like really engage on forward, but I'm noticing I'm looking around a lot, which is like my body's way of trying to orient itself. You're safe, everything's okay, because there's this like energy internally in me that my brain is searching for like what's wrong, what's the meaning, there's something wrong. You feel nervous, you feel anxious, you feel angry.
Yes. Yes.
So
What
for
can
me
I
it's
apply
like,
it to? What can I
yeah, it's like I
connect this to
can
give it meaning?
exactly, my brain's like, okay, there's got to be something going on, something
Yeah.
wrong. We got like a wonky utility bill this morning and I was like, nah! And I just like had this, I'm like, it's fine, you just call them, it's a mix up, we just moved, no big deal, figure it out, it's all good. But it triggered this thing. So for me,
Totally.
that trigger energy is really intense. In having a conversation this morning, for folks, if there's a lot of that fiery anger, and I've been sitting with this often off and on, and I feel like it's really, especially in our feminine energy, and again, not talking masculine, feminine, like male, female, gender, or identity, but how we identify in the energy that we resonate with within our masculine and our feminine. Within the feminine, there's this like, don't be angry, don't get fiery. That's like, that's not feminine. That's not this, that's not that. And
Blech.
I think poo poo on that because
Big time. That makes me
it's
more
just,
agitated.
no, I know, but I think where I'm going with this is that for me, it gives me this unconscious feeling of like, don't be angry. That's icky energy. You shouldn't be angry. And for me, it's anger is highlighting something for us. What's icky is when when we do shitty things with the anger,
Yeah.
and when we don't respond in a way that maybe we all have done it. But the anger itself isn't bad, and it's flagging something for you, and it's triggering something to say like, a boundary has been crossed. I don't feel good in this situation. Something about this interaction or this person or this situation or whatever it is that you're angry about, the person who cut me off on the road, something about that doesn't feel good for me. And it's an invitation. It doesn't mean it's wrong or bad. And so if you are experiencing some fiery, spicy, angry emotions, I think it's like, how can we invite ourselves into it and experience it in a healthy way and then see what comes up? Like for me, one of my favorite things when I'm really ragey is I'll like throw on some loud music, and it doesn't have to be like angry music. It's just music that I like to listen to loud. Like we all have that music where we just want to like crank it up, and I'll just like dance around and flail around. A couple days ago, I was angry, and I was angry after a long day, and John and I were walking in the trees, and I was like, ah! It's like making these loud noises and like screaming, not, excessively, but we just moved to this neighborhood, and I'm like, people are probably going to be like, who is this person screaming in the trees? But like, I was expressing it, I was getting it out, I was feeling it. So long story long, if you're feeling these intense emotions, specifically for me with anger, I think we just have a tendency to turn away from it and not want to feel it, or think it's wrong, or we shouldn't, or it's not high vibe, or, whatever. And invitation maybe to feel it and like move it in a way that feels really good. Maybe that's an intense workout. Maybe it's like screaming into a pillow. Maybe it's, running around your house flailing. Like it doesn't really matter. Screaming in the woods, do what you need to do. But can you express it in a way that actually feels like you're doing something with it, rather than like feeling shitty for feeling it, and then turning away from it? Because there probably is something in it, even if it's a little
totally
ick. It's a little spicy.
Yeah, there totally is something in it. And I think in connection to what you're saying too, is also we have such a conscious choice in this. And kind of like you were saying, Lisa, with the micro choices, we have a conscious choice in our triggering. And something that Spirit has brought up in the cards this morning, which I can talk about in a minute, but it's not a new theme. It's been a consistent theme that has been growing and growing and growing, is checking yourself when you fall into victim mentality. Because with triggers, it's easy to fall into either anger, let's fight it out to whatever it is, right? Or poor me, instead of trying to sit in the middle and sit with the feeling and be like, what's at the root of this actually? Right? Like that's where the conscious choice comes in.
That can be so hard though.
It is hard because we want to blame or like feel sorry for ourselves. And what the universe is asking us right now, and what we all came here to do right now, is to be willing to step back into the middle where it's uncomfortable and not fall into either, but get really clear on what is this? What does this actually mean? And what do you want to do about it? Because here I am like pointing my finger so intensely.
That's at me.
Spicy
I
energy.
know it is. You're pointing at me.
Funny. Oh my gosh. Anyways, by asking us to step in this middle point, we get to step into that higher consciousness. And like, that's where the key is. And that's the key that we actually have. Okay, fine. Spirit's like, show them the card. Here's the five of Pentacles card, and look at the key here in the corner. So this person in this picture is feeling sad because they're like, I'm locked out of the house. Poor me. I'm just outside. And the universe is like, hey, there's a key at the door. But you have to pick up your head and look around, meaning pick up your head, consciously choose what you want to do about it. Because it's not about punishing or being a victim in any of this. Like I'm talking about that victim mentality of the universe hates me, God is punishing me, poor me, like that, right? Wherever you're seeing repeated patterns is where the key is. It doesn't mean it's an easy key to get into the lock. Maybe it's really heavy. Maybe it needs a little bit of sanding because it's rusted over. Right? Maybe you need to like simmer some edges of it, but the key is for that lock and you can wield the key. And I think that's something that we need to try and keep at the forefront of this moon energy. And especially 3 days leading up, 3 days after, is you're the one holding the key. So what do you want to do with the key? Do you want to throw it at someone? Or do you want to leave it on the ground and cry because it's over there? Right? And I'm making light of it because trust me, I'm feeling the energies too. I'm feeling spicy. I'm feeling like triggered, and Spirit is constantly being like, what do you want to do about it? Then I'm like, okay, fine. And then I come back to the middle and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then another thing comes up and I'm like, ah. And then what do you want to do about it again? And I come back to the middle. So none of this is being said as if it's easy for me also.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. So we get to choose so much about it. We just have to not get caught up in the old modalities of it. And the old modalities is to start fights with people, to blame people, or to feel victim. Those are easy ones. I mean, I'm sure there's many more, but those are easy ones to fall into. And if we can catch ourselves, then we can take the energy of this moon and actually grow exponentially in a period of like 6 days. Truly, 3 days before, 3 days after. So we kind of, it's like, what do we want to do about it? And it's those constant micro reminders with everything. And I think if we take those micro reminders by the end of this moon energy, so what would that be like Monday, Tuesday, we might be able to see how much we've actually changed. And this may be an opportunity to see the fruits of the harvest of what we've created. It's a harvest moon, right? So maybe the moon is like, all right, let's look at this whole harvest. We're going to dig it all up, clean it all up, and then you can lay it on the table and be like, wow, look how much I've changed and grown and all of that. There's my mic drop moment.
Yeah. Like
no,
as you say
I
that,
was
I'm
taking
like,
that in.
I sure hope that happens to me. I really hope on Monday I can have a good look at my harvest.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, another thing that came up for this moon too, in the cards, connecting into that message too, but is this 7 of Wands card. And 7 of Wands talks about defensiveness in kind of the original deck. It's like your defense, you're fighting for your position and all of that. But what I really like about this particular one from the Light Seers Tarot deck.
The Light Seers is so awesome.
Yeah. This one talks about creating like this field of energy around you of protection where she's sitting in a bubble that she created. She is not standing here like in the old decks where the person in the middle is standing with a wand trying to fight off the other wands. She's doing this energetically while maintaining her place of peace. So she's choosing that middle ground that we were talking about. And so I love that this came out in the cards because this is completely in our control. We have to just be on top of it. Again, it doesn't mean it's easy, but it's within our realm of control is to try and create that as best as we can.
I love that. Do you guys have any sacred like full moon ceremonies that you bring out? Like, I know it's tough to do it every full moon, but any like suggestions or anything that comes up for such an intense full moon such as this? Like, I was getting probably about a month ago, so I've had this kind of month to really think about it, that this particular full moon is one to have ceremony. So I legitimately like got an outdoor fire pit so that I could burn real wood in my backyard and have a sacred ceremony tonight. And that's about where it's left off. So I'm curious if you guys have had anything come forward about honoring the strength of this full moon and how to create ceremony around it.
I think one of them specifically because it's a fire moon. I like your idea of the element of fire. One thing that I saw was cord cutting ceremonies through fire. So what you can do essentially is you could take like 2 candles. So you put 2 candles kind of side by side, and then you wrap like a piece of string or something, however many you need. You could do several candles and they're all connected. But what happens is when you light them and it starts to burn down, it cuts the cord, like it burns through the rope or not a rope, but the string between them. And when you're setting this up ceremoniously, say it's a cord to a family member in your past and it still haunts you, let's just say. So you set up these 2 candles, you wrap the cord around and you say something to your own discretion of, with this ceremony and as the fire burns, I release the cords and bonds between the 2 of us, or something of the like. You get to set the intent, and then as it burns down, it releases the cord. So cord cutting ceremony to things from your past doesn't have to be a person. It could be anything, an old narrative of yours, a belief system.
Like one of the buckets that you associate the stress with. It's like,
totally.
I want to release the cord, the attachment that I have to this belief or this really outdated limiting perspective.
Yeah. And so you can do this. I would suggest if you're doing any kind of candle firework, is always like you could set up several candles, but put them in like a pie dish so that the wax is contained because it will get messy, and then the fire is contained. Fire safety, gotta say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, honoring the fire element today is really good. You could amplify it too by honoring fire and balancing the fire with water, considering it's moon, and moon really represents water. And those are two very strong polarizing elements together, which can bring in more balance. And we're in Libra season.
Totally.
So balance is kind of a big thing.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
pretty big theme.
How about you, Elyse?
So, well, I was just thinking, like, what am I, it seems like it changes overall what I do each full moon. If I like some moons, I'm like, I don't really feel like I need to do much. And then others feel way more connected to. I noticed today I intentionally blocked off like my whole day. Other than recording this, I have nothing scheduled other than a chat with a friend.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so and I've been really like 3D life busy lately, so this is kind of the first day where that's not the case. And I was like, okay, interesting. And as you two were talking, I was like, okay, what am I feeling given that I really kind of blocked space for myself unintentionally, because I did that more so from a like space management and time management perspective. What was coming up for me, especially in relation to, and I had kind of planned this anyways, not in relation to the full moon, but really spending some time sitting with and really going inward around some of those pain points. And like for me, whenever I'm working with someone or when I'm doing this for myself, if I'm going into icky, uncomfortable, touchy points, I'm doing everything I can to create comfort and safety and support around me. So, like sitting on the couch with my blanket and my dogs, have the fireplace on. It's like really, really rainy here, which is kind of odd for this time of year. And a huge thunderstorm rolled through last night, which is also really strange because it's not been hot enough to get like the big booming thunderstorms like we normally do.
Yeah.
But it was like thunder and lightning, like, and pouring rain last night. And then it's just socked in for these couple of days, which is interesting, that fire water piece that you were talking about. So, you know, for me, as we were talking about fire, I do feel like I'd maybe like to do something like that. But after carving out some space and holding the wounds that have come up and like really kind of softly being with them, and you know, I kind of have my own processes for working through those things, but we're all different in that way. So for me, there's a feeling of balance where I want to kind of comfortably, safely cocoon myself in a little bit and just hold, and I don't even really know what that's going to look like, to be honest. And then on the flip side, do some maybe candles or something with as you were talking, Lisa, about sitting outside, I was like, ooh, that would be nice. And then I remembered it's raining. So probably bring the fire, do some candles or something inside.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for me, it's kind of it's a balancing act for this one.
Definitely.
Doing a little bit on both sides.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel a sense of doing it in like, sometimes you like, for me at least, I really enjoy creating ceremony with people, whether it's a connective ceremony with my husband or integrating sisterhood or something. And for me, it feels very personal, like individual. Like I do not want anybody near me during my ceremony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might start howling at the moon. I might, but I don't want anybody around me.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting too, because I think that with this particular energy, it is really specific to each individual's bringing in energy, releasing energy, cutting your own personal cords and creating your own perspective. Like there is a real like individualistic, like personal connection with this of releasing and lighting your own torch kind of thing, you know? I got to show you guys, like I shuffled and I shuffled and I pulled out, you guys will never guess it, like one after the other. It was so strong. I got to show you my cards. Again, I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. And I think this happened like what, like 6 months ago or something, G, when you just pulled Major Arcana.
Yeah.
I pulled 1, 2. This is the order too. So I want you to help me because you're like such a master with these cards too. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, wait, that was like
7.
last time. I think it was 7.
7 straight
Major.
cards.
Yeah.
Okay. So strength.
Yeah.
That's my first one.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And then I have the Fool,
Ah, yes. New
which is the
beginnings.
first card, and it's about new beginnings, right?
Yeah.
Then I have the Hierophant.
Higher wisdom, higher knowledge, stepping up into higher
And
consciousness.
then this is always a good one. I got the Tower.
Oh, gotta love that. I saw the tower this morning too.
And that
Yeah.
one's right in the middle. This one's the middle card.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like it the best when it's right at the beginning. So that I'm like,
Rip
oh
that
yeah,
Band-Aid
that's
off.
the energy I'm feeling right now. Now we
Yes.
can move forward. But it's right in the middle.
That's okay though. That's okay.
Okay,
I'll
then
wait
I
till you're
have
done.
Death and Rebirth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then I have the Hermit. And then I have the Wheel.
I love this pull.
7 straight. Strength, Fool, Hierophant, Tower, Death, Hermit, Wheel.
Totally.
7 straight major.
So, I
Give it
feel
to me.
everything
Give it to me.
what you just pulled was exactly what was coming through, and I was going to bring it up. And I do think actually the Tower is right now, because I think what that pull is, the start of it was the equinox, because what Spirit was saying is, we were just sitting here, was they brought up, remember that the equinox last week, last Friday, Saturday, really triggered a shift and a consciousness change on this earth. What then comes after that is like, okay, we're in this new energy. There's a whole bunch of stuff you're still carrying. You've done great work in the past. We don't want to not acknowledge all of the work that we've done. And also, we're now at this new level. There's just some bags that you just can't bring with you. And so we're going to pull all that down. And I almost wonder, because what they were saying was that this moon coming a week after the equinox energy and the shift into fall and the coziness and the going inward and the hermiting and the new beginning that comes with that. Even I had a reading yesterday, that we were booked before the equinox in Spirits, and she didn't get the confirmation. Like, it was just a weird thing, and she didn't show up for the original meeting. And they said at the beginning of the reading she needed to have it after the equinox because things were going to shift so drastically. It would have been like moot point of most of the things that you chatted about. So all to say, it feels like that pull kind of mimics that equinox energy, new beginning, shifting, higher level, consciousness into a bit of a Tower moment right now, where we're feeling really clunky. There's a bit of a death rebirth happening. We're needing to kind of go inward and cocoon. But then we go into these completions and this new cycle.
Start a new cycle.
You know what, too, though? The wheel is really indicative of the universe. Like, the universe spins this wheel of destiny, right? And so it can spin good or it can spin bad, if I want to use good or bad. But here's the thing is this is the last full moon before we start the eclipse season, which starts, I think, October 14th, which is can't remember if it's the solar or lunar eclipse. But anyways, during eclipse seasons, what happens in those is that's when the universe, or we'll say universe, comes in and does its work based on what you have been doing. So I love that this card pull finishes with the Wheel of Fortune, because it's like, hey, this is all the stuff we're doing, releases, new beginning, shifting, hermit a little bit, because then we're coming in an eclipse season and we're going to answer a lot of those shifts that you've made. Right. So I think that I'm not surprised it's a 7-card major arcana pull.
Oof.
From
I think I've ever done that before. We're 7 straight. Yeah. And for the week from the equinox to that, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, it
So I
comes
see that is really positive.
So it comes with so much, like, it evokes so much energy that instantly, like, I can feel it in my gut. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, whoa. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I think if we can move through now with the knowledge of like, okay, I'm going to watch when I'm triggered into anger. And is it really valid? Like, needed? Is an outburst needed to set a boundary or not? And then am I being triggered into victim? Is that needed to set my own boundary of safety or not? and just keep like, you might feel like you're bouncing from side to side a little bit, but
Yeah.
consciously bounce, right? Because then it's teaching you and helping you funnel into greater clarity and knowledge so the universe can answer during eclipse season. I think that's pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's helpful
Yeah.
versus this morning's energy alone. Right?
Totally.
I think
Yeah.
even if it's like, okay, you know, our words don't necessarily shift the energy for you, or really, you know, you leave feeling better or not, it's, for me, it's, and one of the cards that I pulled was, it's like the perception. It's the clarity around, okay, I'm feeling all sorts of stuff, feels kind of garbagey, not a super huge fan. And I can kind of put some context and some perspective as to why. It helps make it not feel so personal and like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? Like, we can even get victimy or angry with like
100%.
the energy of ourselves, like, what is wrong with me? I did all these
Yeah.
things. And you know, usually that's just there's an element of exhaustion and fatigue with that energy, right? And so if you're even noticing that this energy is around for a handful of days to work with, then just like nurture yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
If all you can do is, you're bouncing back and forth, and all you can do is just like nurture yourself for a couple days and hold yourself up and give yourself a little bit of equalizing time to then go into that middle perspective, then cool, do
Yes.
that. If
Mhm.
you feel like you can really work with the triggers and the energy, then cool, do that. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
for me, the perspective always helps a lot.
You know,
Yeah.
and I gotta say, for those that are watching this and feeling like, you know, I'm not really being triggered, like, congratulations. And I
That's
say that in a
amazing.
Yeah.
non-snarky way. Like, I
Good for
actually
you.
mean, like, yeah, I know. Way to
Just
go.
kidding.
No, but I really mean that. Like, if you're at a point where you're watching this and you're like, I'm not being triggered by anything or this or that, that is amazing. And give yourself credit for that, because that means you know yourself. And this particular moon is not triggering anything that needs to come up at this time. So allow yourself to be okay with that too. Because I think sometimes people will listen to things and be like, well, I'm not feeling those things. Is there something wrong with me? Am I missing something? And that in itself can be triggering. And I just want to say, for those that aren't, like, honor that, because that is a beautiful thing. And I have to say, not every moon triggers me either. There are
Mhm.
Yeah.
times where maybe the two of you are really feeling it and I'm not. Maybe
Yeah.
there's other times I'm feeling it, you guys are not. Like, honor where you are in your journey.
So I listened to this person. That's a good point, G, because like on that, this is an extension. I listened to someone on YouTube talking about the energies right now, and they said there will be people who are very, very, very triggered. They can feel it so much, even like physically, where it can actually manifest into your physical body. But then there's a group of people who aren't gonna feel it. And that's important too, because if you aren't feeling that trigger or that like depths of like, and you almost feel like the illumination of it, and you can feel like you're standing in the light of this like strong moon, that is very purposeful too, because pay attention to that, because that's your opportunity to lead with the light, and that you can hold space for people to be able to be messy, and you be like, I'm given a leadership light right now. And so you can really honor that and like take that in your own heart space, being like, this is an opportunity for me to step forward in a leadership role, you know. And it might not just apply to leading people who are bumping into each other because this moon is so triggering, but like in general, like maybe your harvest is your torch to be able to take the lead right now and be able to guide. And that comes up very strongly. So as strong as some people are feeling triggered and agitated, that same level of intensity will go to people in stepping forward in a leadership role, which is really beautiful too.
I
Yeah.
love that. There's a lot I've seen. I follow and have the Chani Nicholas app. She's a really cool astrologer, and you can use the app for free without a subscription, and it gives you kind of like weekly, daily, based on your sign and everything.
Yeah.
And you know, each full moon, each new moon, each eclipse, they all have different connections to different placements within the zodiac sign. And so depending on what's in your seventh house and what's a node of this and
Zodiac sign.
da-da-da-da-da, it's like it's gonna impact you differently in that sign as
Totally.
well, right? So yeah,
What's your moon signs?
Cancer.
Pisces.
Pisces, Cancer. I'm Aquarius moon.
Hmm.
But my sun is Libra, and apparently Libra placements are feeling this a lot. Aries placements will obviously feel this a lot.
I'm Aries sun.
There was something with Mars. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Go listen to an expert, because I'm not that.
Yeah.
But I heard those words. So
I am repeating
with
the
a grain
words
of
I
salt.
heard.
Regurgitated.
Oh, that's
All
funny.
right. Well, on that note, any last thoughts? Any last tie-up pieces?
Just sending lots of love,
Yeah.
strength for everybody right now, and know that sometimes there's just strength in numbers. Like when you feel like you can identify with the spiciness maybe, or the triggers or whatever, as this evokes this in the full moon, it actually like has helped me. Like it's not that I want everybody to feel spicy, but it allows me to step back from that placement into the bucket in which I usually do place it when I'm feeling this level of intensity, that I don't have to place it onto something, that I can simply just feel it. And maybe that is the gift in this, is that people can just connect in this and just be in it without having to place it into something. I think that's something that's really important.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
And take a sec. If you're feeling really spicy in conversation, be like, maybe I don't want to project this so much. Just gonna take a sec.
Yeah. Practicing that pause, I think, is so valuable right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Well, thank you for the chat, ladies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We hope you all have a beautiful week. Let us know how this moon is manifesting for you. And if you're one of those, Lisa, I loved what you were sharing about the leadership and like stepping into the light. So if you're also one of those people that you're noticing that you're in that energy of feeling really grounded and feeling that you're being put into that leadership light role, we'd love to hear that too.
Yeah.
It's not all hard, not all bad, but
That's right.
sometimes it also feels like a pile of garbage. So honoring all of it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
So with that, I guess we will see everyone next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.